joining us today is Ben Wheeler. Ben, welcome to the Telehealth booth.
Yeah, thanks.
You're a paediatric endocrinologist, is that right? And you're based in the South Island?
Yes.
Yeah, and you came into the talk today about telemedicine and the role of diabetes. So I guess with children, you'd be primarily focusing on type 1 diabetes. That would be your main area.
That's exactly
is that right?
right,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And I was quite interested in your talk. You sort of talked about how telehealth kind of is a barrier breaker, if that's the right word that I could use, like kind of using it to help access for people who have a distance time. Parents can not take a whole day off work, those kinds of benefits with using it. So I guess one of the first questions would be, could you explain what areas you cover with using your telehealth down the South Island?
Yeah. So our main clinic's currently running into Central Otago.
Okay.
And so that covers the traditional areas of Wanaka, Queenstown, Dunstan,
Right.
Alexandra. We also run clinics to North Otago, based out of Oamaru. And the region that we cover would also include the entire Southern DHB and South Canterbury DHB, but we don't run official routine clinics to them. That'd be anything to do with other locations other than Central Otago or North Otago is spontaneous as opposed to routine.
Right, okay. So you cover quite a large area.
Yeah, it's a large area.
Yeah, it's a pretty large area actually.
I think in my talk, it's exactly the same size basically as the country of Austria, so 80,000 square.
Right.
Square
Okay.
kilometres.
Okay. So you've got quite a need for telehealth then.
Yes.
Yeah. And what have you found using telehealth down there?
Well, what we've done is we had our traditional model was either that every single patient would come to me and we'd have a normal 30-minute consult, and or theoretically I could go to them with my team. But particularly, we had mostly been running on them coming to us and became more and more aware that they were travelling 1 or 2 days to see me for a 30-minute appointment, which can sometimes be quite rushed and I'm running late or all sorts of things could happen.
Some people can travel up to 6 to 8 hours, as you were saying.
And maybe more sometimes. And if they wanted to make a morning clinic, then they would need to come the night before.
Right. Okay.
Things like that, particularly maybe in winter when there's ice or frost. Can be a little bit of a dangerous, journey through the mountains, in the winter with unexpected ice and weather.
True. Yeah.
And so we decided, and it was suggested to us, in fact, by one of our mothers and from patients in clinic, could we do it? And so we decided we would, and we aimed for Central Otago first because that was the biggest distance people were travelling anywhere in the region, and we have a base hospital or a trust hospital in Dunstan, which is sort of equidistant from all the main centres, and so that's how we do it.
Okay, so this was a patient initiative kind of.
Yeah, well, we'd sort of pondered it, but that was what really gave us a kick in the pants to get going. Yeah,
Okay.
when we saw that they were keen, we then made sure, it got us going. It was great.
Okay, so can you explain to me the setup? How does it work for you guys?
Well, in terms of staffing, it's essentially identical to our normal clinic. So we have the same me.
Yep.
We have a diabetes nurse specialist, and she may or may not be a prescriber, and we have a dietitian. And that's exactly what it would be if they were in our Dunedin clinic, but we just have that, everyone else but me in the far site.
Okay.
And we just run a normal 30-minute clinic, and I'm the only thing that's missing in person, basically.
I see. And so, so I'm guessing you've got one screen with you on it, or the patient on it, and you've got another access to information or blood glucoses or something like that.
Yeah, well, when we first started, I just had one screen.
Yeah.
And, in fact, no, we started in my office because I had two screens.
Yeah.
And my colleagues in the far site, they had just a laptop with a single screen.
Yeah.
And we've been able to move from there to, at the other site, they've got a large TV. And it's got me on it, so I'm sort of life size.
Yeah, so you're like a celebrity almost.
Life size screen, and then they've got their laptop to look at their material, and I have two screens in my clinic room now, and so many of these consults are now just a normal slot in a normal day-to-day face-to-face clinic, and I just suddenly dial out do that one and then come back to normal patients. And so that's pretty much how it runs.
Okay. And then, so in terms of documenting a clinic like that, you just do a dictated letter and that comes up virtual?
I treat it as I would a normal consultation in all respects. The letter's the same, except in the first sentence I say, I saw so-and-so in my diabetes clinic. But other than that, it's everything, all documentation, everything else is treated identically, and I take full responsibility.
Okay. And you mentioned in your talk a diabetes device or some sort of, I think was it called Diasend or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a cloud-based diabetes management system, and we could do it without that, but that does make things very easy for us, and so patients can put their data into that, and then I can bring that down onto my other screen, look at that as we chat. They can look at it as well, and we can look for areas that we can work to improve.
So these are like the blood glucose measurements that...
Particularly blood glucose data, but because diabetes is now more and more technology based, so people are using insulin pumps and continuous monitors of their glucose, attached to their bodies all the time.
Yeah, true.
And so that all of that data goes into that system, and so we have almost more data than we can deal with, rather than not enough.
Yeah, this sounds ideal, and because diabetes, it's more, you look at those sort of numbers and you talk to the dietitians about the diet. It's not so much a physical exam so much.
So certainly there are elements of diabetes that require physical exam, and we still have a minimum of one face-to-face consult a year.
Okay.
But for all the other ones, as long as things are going smoothly and nothing's identified during the teleclinic, everything is about support, education, being part of our multidisciplinary team. They can have face-to-face time with the dietitian based in Central Otago or Oamaru, face-to-face time with the nurse there, and then I can give advice and catch up about their management.
Okay. So I guess I'd like to know, what have you learnt from using this telehealth sort of access?
Sure, nice question.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things that we anticipated that have happened, that it works generally, and that people like it. We've got very good feedback generally, although there's a range of expectations. Some people really like it, and some people don't want to use it at all and want to keep coming to see us in person.
Okay.
And so it's not one size fits all. We just adjust whatever model people would like, we'll provide it. Another thing I've learned that's really positive from my point of view is it wasn't anticipated, but our team, and particularly our team structure with the other sites, is considerably strengthened.
Okay.
And we have, really positive, in fact, ongoing sort of weekly contact with them where before we had none. And so I think we feel that the nurse and the dietitian on the other site are fully part of our team, and they feel that they belong in our team as well now, where before we would have said we were just two separate groups.
Yeah.
So those are really positive things.
So this has enhanced your communication essentially.
And enhanced more than just the communication, the relationships in general.
Okay. Any sort of downsides or things you would have wanted to change?
And we've had occasional mishaps. Our first clinics, we had text message reminders sent to everybody to come to Dunedin instead of go to Central Otago.
Okay.
We've had very occasional technology issues, and we're just sort of gently working through funding issues. Particularly, we would love to share some of the savings we have with the hospitals that we're linking in with, so that they also can benefit from their funding and the infrastructure they're very generously providing us. That's what we would hope.
And funding's quite an important issue when you've got this telehealth set up. So when you're working at your base and you're seeing somebody satellite or via telehealth, who pays for the clinics, or where does that funding go?
So if I travelled, for instance, to the Trust Hospital, which essentially operates like a separate unit from us, I would pay them a rental. In fact, our department would pay them a rental for the space they're letting us use to see the patients. And that can be quite a lot for a whole day clinic. Sometimes some places might charge, $2,000 for that. That's over and above all our travel costs and everything else. When I use the teleclinic space, then technically they would like to charge us the same price.
Okay.
We don't have any funding for that, and in fact, we're saving those amounts of money in travel and other things, but that money doesn't come to me when I save it. It goes somewhere else, into the cloud as well. And we don't have access to that. So in fact, if they did charge me and I did pay it, my department would actually be poorer by running telehealth than we would be, even though we're saving more money than we would be spending. So there's a funding issue there. Where currently, because everyone has a lot of goodwill and the service is great, they give it to us all for free. But in the long run, I think it would be nice if we could pay in some way for the service they're providing us. So that would be ideal.
And of course, you've got the wider costs as well, the costs of the parents not having to take a whole day off work, and the cost of them travelling, and
so we could send them a bill as well.
You could. Not sure how they would respond to that.
That's a bad joke.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, thanks so much for coming along and having a chat with us. It's been definitely interesting in hearing about your case, what your work down there. And I hear you're one of 2 paediatric endocrinologists in the South Island.
Yeah, that's right. So we're a bit of a scarce resource. So my colleague's based in Christchurch. So
this is a good utilisation for you to use this telehealth. You're sort of essentially in more than one place at one time.
Absolutely.
Without the travel.
It's been a positive experience.
Cool. Okay, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks. Pleasure to come.